Hey guys, it's me, amx.terasu, back with another video. I'm not even about to compare myself to Corey Kenshin, but I'm gone and then I'm back and then I'm gone and then I'm back. Who knows, maybe I'll stay this time, maybe I won't, but this time I'm trying something new. No text to speech. Yay! I don't know how this is gonna work, how y'all are gonna feel about this, but I don't know. I never really read, so this is also, I guess, enhancing my reading abilities. But yeah, this is chapter 4, or I don't know, part 2 of What If Deku Could Take Quirks, aka All for None by Luke 2. I reversed it, but anyways, without further ado, roll the intro.
In your passion, I was lost.
Chapter 4, The Second Quirk Awakening. Izuku awoke with a start before realizing he was back in his own home. It had been 2 days since his little trip to the hospital. Today was it, the day where Izuku would tell Yaoyorozu about his real quirk. The boy let out a heavy sigh. He would still be friends with Yaoyorozu at the end of the day. Then, hoping today went well, tomorrow Izuku would work with All Might to train his quirk and find out why exactly it was hurting him. The quirk stealer was supposed to meet her at 11 a.m. Apparently the girl's limo, well, it was still weird to him that she was so rich despite the amount of time that he'd known her, would be dropping her off at his place, where from there Izuku would walk her to the beach. Izuku would have told the girl to meet him at Dagobah, but he doubted her parents would like their daughter being dropped off at a garbage dump. It was currently 8 a.m., which meant Izuku had 3 hours to mess around. And what better way to do that than write in his secret journal where he stored all of the information about his quirks in. Let's take a second to discuss Izuku's quirks. All for One, emitter type quirk, allows for the instant transmission of a quirk upon physical touch with the intended target. Some form of overuse causes extremely painful migraines that can cause the user to faint. The two most likely causes are possessing too many quirks at the same time and using quirk in rapid succession. Quirk 2, Ultra Sight, mutation type quirk, changes the eyes of the person who has it to a pure shade of black, passively improves the sight of the user, giving them 20/20 vision. In addition, grants the user 7 different types of vision to cycle between. They are as follows. Night vision, functions in a different way to normal night vision. It just makes it look like a regular day versus making everything green like regular night vision. He can hold this night vision quirk for 20 minutes before it starts to hurt a bit. The previous user supposedly could keep this up for hours at a time. The second version, thermal vision, functions as regular thermal vision, turning his vision blue except for heat sources, which get redder the hotter they are. Third version, blacklight vision, functions in the exact same way as blacklight does. Fourth version, radiation vision, is his least used vision and will probably remain due due to the fact that Izuku wanted to be nowhere near any source of radiation. And finally, zoom is an incredible, useful, and able to see about 1 kilometer out. Kilometer out. Apparently, the last user could see up to 5 kilometers out. I tried combining thermal once, and I regretted that almost instantly. However, it felt as like my eyes were burning from the strain, but quirks are like muscles, and I'll need to train them so that I can do so. And finally, dark vision. It darkens the world around and causes living things to become yellow, a yellow silhouette. He has about 15 feet of range with this at the moment. Quirk 3, Jetstream, emitter type quirk, allows the user to fire bursts of typhoon-level air from the palms. With proper practice, the quirk can be used to fly. This is by far Izuku's favorite quirk. The winds can reach up to 200 miles per hour, with only 120 miles per hour being needed to lift the average weight of a person off the ground. And since Izuku is a child, he needs much less for it to take off. It's unfortunate that Izuku can only make winds around 80 miles per hour. He wanted to fly so badly. Overuse leads to the person feeling like they have been running for a long time. He's really glad All Might helped him train his endurance, because Izuku could hold the quirk for a good 10 minutes at this point. The stronger the gust, the faster you exhaust it. It can only hold 80 miles per hour gusts for around a minute at the moment. Quirk 4, Super Teeth. Mutation? Emitter? I don't know. Honestly, Izuku wants nothing to do with this quirk. He's only used it once and he really doesn't like how it feels. It feels itchy and scratchy. Using it like rubbing teeth on tinfoil. He also doesn't know to classify it because it both mutates his body and fires his teeth out. On the bright side, he will never need dentures. He muses. Quirk 5, Combustion, emitter type quirk. Allows the user to manipulate any fire within a 30-foot radius. It almost has no drawback and allows for free movement of the fire almost perfectly. The downside is there already has to be fire, so at the moment it's pretty useless to him. But hopefully down the line he gets a fire quirk, because combined with this one will give Izuku tons of options. Izuku looked up to the clock and saw that it was nearing 11 a.m. He had been writing and rewriting his notes for quite a while now. He realized, better start getting ready to go. Izuku got dressed quickly and moved out into the living room, only to see his mom making lunch. "Hey Mom," Izuku said, beaming at her. "Oh, good afternoon, dear. Ready to hang out with little Yaoyorozu?" Inko stopped slicing carrots as she said this. "Yeah, I think I am, but I'm terrified how she's gonna react seeing my quirk though. I hope she doesn't get scared of me like everyone else did," Izuku brooded. That was the past, Izuku. Come on, this girl is better than the rest. She won't judge you. With how she was when you were in the hospital, I really doubt it, honey. It'll be fine, I promise. Izuku giving her son a hug that he definitely needed. Just after they heard a knock on the door. "I wonder who it could be," Inko said in a playful manner. Izuku just sighed and went over to the door, opening it and finding Yaoyorozu on the other side. She was wearing a sundress with flowers on it. "Hey Midoriya," Momo beamed. "So, where we're going?" I'm not gonna ruin the surprise, Yaoyorozu." "Alright, we're leaving, Mom. I'll see you later." Izuku smiled and back at the elder Midoriya. They made small talk as they walked to the beach, mainly about the stuff Izuku had missed while he had been in the hospital. Turns out Monoma is still a jerk. The blonde apparently went out on some kind of tirade about being a part of the superior class of people when the teacher started a lesson on the working class. God, that guy is such a cocky fuck, Izuku thought. Well, at least he doesn't beat people up by literally exploding them. "Anything good happened while I was in the hospital, Yaoyorozu?" Izuku said, trying to lighten the mood. "I got another 100 on our English tests," Momo asked questioningly. "Well, I'd say good job, but I'm not really surprised you did," Izuku laughed. "What about outside of school? How are the young Mrs. Prince's parents?" Izuku brought out a snob voice the girl liked so much, which made her giggle a bit. "They're doing alright, just busy as usual. Being the heiress of one of the most successful support companies gets lonely sometimes." Yaoyorozu looked down a bit sad. Izuku had no idea what possessed him in that moment, but the look on her face was criminal. He quickly strode in front of the girl before grabbing her hands and forcing her to look at him. "Momo, I know it isn't easy, and I know about more unsavory things that are said about you, but I promise you, none of them are true. They're all just jealous of you." The sudden close contact with the girl was causing the girl to go beet red, and she could only let out a small panicked noises as she responds. "What did he just say? Her name?" Yaoyorozu's head was officially fried. She just stood there broken as her brain was trying to comprehend everything that just happened. Izuku, realizing what he'd just done, quickly let go of her hands before stepping back. Sorry, Yaoyorozu. I just wanted to help. I didn't realize I meant to use your first name. Izuku turned his head to the side, trying to stammer out an apology. Momo started stammering out an apology of her own. It's fine. I just wasn't expecting it. When Yaoyorozu finally looked up, she noticed Midoriya had the exact same expression on his face and just started to laugh. You know what to say, you dork. You always know what to say, you dork. Yaoyorozu, now that she had taken some time to breathe and calm herself, realized she didn't mind the use of her first name. In fact, it kind of made her happy. Midoriya? Yes, Yaoyorozu? Izuku mumbled. Could you say it again? The girl was blushing profoundly. Now was time for Izuku's brain to fry. He knew exactly what the girl meant. He wasn't that dense, but to be asked that by a girl of all things felt completely out of left field for the boy. Realizing she was still looking at him expectantly, Izuku put his head into overdrive. Hey brain, we need to say something back. Izuku just settled on doing what the girl asked and spoke quietly. Momo? The squeal released from the girl in front of him was definitely not what Izuku had been expecting. Maybe he should respond with the same thing. Then would you like to call me Izuku? Momo just nodded weakly. Izuku. It felt right on her tongue. There was an awkward silence for a bit after that. Neither of them knew how to go back to normalcy, so Izuku just did the next best thing and completely changed topics. So, try out any of my ideas about your quirk? Thankfully for the quick transition. Oh, actually, yes. After a suggestion that I should focus on learning how to make different types of ranged weapons, I finally succeeded on making a tranquilizer gun. I also then may have accidentally tranked myself. Yaoyorozu said that last part with the much quieter than she did the first. Oh my god, Momo, that's so cool. Your quirk is amazing, you know? So I really got bored one day while thinking about it, how you could potentially apply your quirk in interesting ways. So I did the math on something weird. Momo, you do realize that if you wanted to, you can destabilize the world economy, right? Like in a month, you can double all the existing gold on the planet, and I just think that's the coolest fucking thing. Izuku, stop stuttering when you say her name. You have one job, Izuku thought. Momo was blushing slightly at the overwhelming praise she was getting. This was in addition to how cute she found it. Izuku couldn't say her name without pausing. It was then that the dump came into view. Momo was obviously confused at why Izuku's most important place in the world. Izuku, not my place to judge, but why is this dump the most important place to you? Come on, girl, we're doing it too. Izuku took a deep breath and finally, after a few seconds of silence, he summoned the courage to tell her about his quirk. Although he'd stilled himself in more than one way, Momo, this is the place that is most important to me because this is where my journey to become a hero truly began, where my mentor told me that even with my villainous quirk, I could change the world. I didn't want to scare you, but what I'm about to tell you is kind of a government secret. The quirk stealer paused, letting the shock enter her eyes, and decided this was it. He was really doing it. Izuku took off his contact lenses and showed her his real eyes. Yaoyorozu was visibly startled when she saw them, but recovered quickly. Noticing Izuku had stopped stuttering, she did her best to do the same. Izuku, that's not that big of a deal. Your eyes are just a little different. That's not it, Momo. My real quirk is the ability to take and give quirks. Izuku waited for that bombshell of information to register in the girl's eyes. He was expecting to see fear in them, but what appeared was instead admiration. Izuku, are you serious? That's like literally the coolest quirk. How many do you have? Well, this was not how Izuku was expecting this to go, if he were being honest. You're not scared? I could literally just walk over and touch you and you would be quirkless. Permanently. So why aren't you scared of me? Izuku was silently cheering inside. She didn't reject him. Thank God. Izuku, I know you never do that. If you had wanted to, you could have stolen it. It was literally the first day we met, but you never did. That being said, I can see why you think I should be. Were people scared of you at your old school? I always thought of it as weird that you were transferred to one of the most expensive schools in Japan, despite not coming from a wealthy background. Yourself, on top of that, it was in the middle of the semester. A lot of things regarding Izuku were starting to make sense in her head now. This mentor must have really helped him. Yeah, they were absolutely horrified of me, or they downright hated me. I had no one or nothing. I guess that's why I wanted to talk to you at first. Being lonely isn't fun. But my mentor saved me, and I wanted to save you. He smiled at her. If she was willing to stick with him, even after learning what his quirk was, then he would stick with her. Sss. You're a total dork, you know that? But thanks, Izuku. Alright, you gotta show me all your quirks, Izuku. No hiding them from me, you hear? She sounded like she was pounding at the end, which would make sense considering how long he kept her in the dark. Alright, I guess I'll lead with my eyes. He was very thorough and showed her each and every single one of his quirks. Izuku even had her make a lighter so he could show off combustion. She was just as horrified of the teeth quirk as Izuku was, which he found funny to be honest. My favorite is jet spraying. Watch this. He pointed one of his hands down and hit his full power, causing him to jump into the air. He couldn't fly just yet, but he could glide. He decelerated himself enough to land softly on the ground from where he had leapt from. Izuku, that reminds me, how did you get those quirks? Who did you steal them from? Momo looked a little frightened as she said that. She just realized that Izuku had to have stolen these from someone. Oh, don't worry, please. It was completely legal, I swear. The frightened boy stammered out as loudly and quickly as he could to reassure the girl. She jumped first, then her look of fear fading with a sigh of relief. I can tell you all the details, but I took these from bad people. People who abused their quirks to hurt others. He couldn't tell her about All Might after all. That wasn't his secret. But how is that legal still? Momo was confused to say the least. Oh, the police used me to take them from bad people. As long as I don't take anyone else's quirk, the police allow me to take them from my prisoners. My quirk has a kind of hunger to it. It has to get a quirk every once in a while, or I will get this irresistible urge to take one. By taking quirks from criminals, I help them out and help me out. Izuku explained that as the best as he could. And how did that arrangement get set up exactly? The idea made sense to Momo, but how did it happen in the first place? Well, I stole someone's quirk the day I got mine, and the police got involved. I met my mentor that day. He saved me, Izuku said with the biggest smile she had seen on the boy. This mentor must be really important to Izuku, she thought. Alright, well, I'm glad you told me this. I guess it was something really big. The creation girl started laughing, realizing how big of a secret Izuku had. She thought it was just going to be something dumb, and he was just making a big deal out of it. Well, that's everything, Momo. Anything else you wanted to know? Izuku was glad it turned out this way. Well, nothing to ask, just more of a statement. I know I've never said it, and you never talked about it, your quirk, so I don't think you wanted it to be a hero, but clearly I was wrong. So let me tell you, let's be the biggest, best heroes ever. Momo gave a thumbs up at Izuku at the exclamation. Izuku just chuckled and he mimicked the action. 2 the best heroes. Once they had gotten food, Momo had to go back, but overall this was a pretty good day, Izuku thought to himself. Mom was right, she was still with him. Izuku met with All Might the next day to practice his quirks and to learn more about All for One. Midoriya, my boy, how did everything go with young Yaoyorozu? All Might said, flashing his trademark smile at the child. It went amazing, All Might. She wasn't even scared of... Well, she was for a bit, when she realized my quirks had to come from somewhere. She thought I'd stolen them from people illegally at first, but once I explained everything, it was fine. And don't worry, I didn't say anything about you. Izuku explained to the gaunt skeleton of a man with a heart made of gold. That's very good, my boy. Very good indeed. Having someone your age in your corner while even knowing what your quirk is a huge step forward. Now on to the day. We are going to have you repeatedly use All for One on me, taking and giving quirks over and over to see if that was the cause of your predicament the other day. Please tell me if it starts hurting, and we shall stop immediately, Toshinori explained. Izuku nodded. The plan made sense to him. Any particular quirk you want, All Might? Give me the propulsion quirk. It is your favorite after all, and I'd like to try it out for myself. The boy walked over and gave it to him, but as he did, he felt something he hadn't felt before. Just as he was giving the man the quirk, he knew it was wrong. Izuku shouldn't be giving him this quirk. Warning bells went off as the transfer started. He immediately canceled the quirk and pulled it back, but the damage had been done. Izuku watched as All Might screamed in pain, then collapsed. All Might! He screamed over, running to the man in his lifeless body. Thankfully, by the time he had reached the man, he was already coming to. Oh my god, I'm glad you're alright. Izuku let out through uncontrolled sobs. He had hurt his mentor. He had hurt All Might. All Might just started to stand wearily. My boy, what just happened? I was fine. Then, as your quirk went into my body, it started to overwhelm me. My head hurts so badly. This must be what it's like when your quirk hurts you. But regardless, I'm alright. You pulled that quirk back in the nick of time, Izuku. Izuku was just sobbing against the man. All Might went to hug him and whisper reassurances that it was alright, and most definitely not his fault. It was All Might's idea after all. Several minutes later, Izuku had calmed down enough to explain what happened. I was just about to give you the quirk when I think All for One tried to warn me. It was desperately telling me not to give you that quirk. Thanks to that, I was able to pull back before I fully gave it to you. You said the headache was like the only one I got, right? That must have been it, then. Having too many quirks is what causes the migraines. Your body already has 7 quirks. 8 must be too much for you. The boy was trying his best to calmly rationalize the situation. That would appear to be the case, young Midoriya. But as you said, the headache stopped for you, correct? Maybe your quirk can be trained to carry more quirks, much like improving any other quirk. But in your case, you strengthen your quirk by holding enough quirks to be near your current limit. At least that's what I think. Your old limit was 5 quirks, but I have a feeling you can hold more now. All Might explained in a way that makes sense. Izuku paused and thought for a bit, responding, if he can't hold that many quirks, his use for the police would go down exponentially. But then an idea struck him. A way to both help the police and train his quirk and to help the populace. All Might, I have a favor to ask you, and an idea I think would be very beneficial for both me, the public, and the police. All Might, do you know if there's an organization around here that helps the quirkless? Izuku asked. All Might, having no idea where his trainee was taking this. I do believe so, my boy. Why though? Well, I can't help the police if I can only hold 7 quirks before I melt down. However, I don't need to be the one with the quirks. All Might paused for a second, then it came to him. My boy, you are so smart, Toshinori exclaimed. Yup, I can take quirks near my limit, then donate the rest to quirkless people that we deem are capable of having them. Rinse and repeat. We train my quirk and will help who have suffered like I have. It's especially useful since there aren't many quirkless my age. The 20% of population that mainly that are mainly elders born to previous generations after all. Izuku explained his plan, much to the surprise of Izuku. All Might was stroking his chin thoughtfully. Izuku had thought his idea might get shut down, but the man was seriously considering it. After a bit, All Might spoke. Alright, my boy, I'll look into my contacts so we can see if we can set this up. It's almost as ingenious solution. It's honestly an ingenious solution to our problem. I'm so proud of you, young Midoriya. We should get some more quirks first, though. Are there any you don't want currently? No hesitation at all, Izuku immediately stammered out, Moonfish's quirk, please, it's too freaky for me. Izuku blinched in disgust of the thought of his teeth being used to carve someone up. Ignorance is bliss, at least, and whoever he gives it to won't know what it was used to be done with. Sorry, people, I got a lot. I messed up a lot, but hold on, let me continue. Izuku blanched in disgust at the thought of his teeth being used to carve someone up. Ignorance is bliss, at least, and whoever he gives it to won't know what it's done. All Might just laughed. I couldn't agree with you anymore, young Midoriya. We're going to the prison this weekend, so we can try to up your limit. I think you'll quite like the next one we've got for you. Remember the ex-hero Death Arms? Izuku was disgusted when he heard that name. He had looked up the man after all. Apparently Death Arms had been getting paid off by a mob in the area he patrolled in. In exchange for not bothering their group, they paid him quite well. When he was finally caught with his hand in the cookie jar, so to speak, the police had come for him and he murdered 3 cops by throwing police cars at them. He was eventually subdued by his old comrade Kamui Woods. His hero license obviously revoked and he was sent to Tartarus. Yeah, I remember that guy, Izuku said in disgust on his lips. I'll be glad to take his quirk though. Izuku switched from hatred to joy so quickly. All Might could swear it was never even there. This boy and his quirks, he thought, with a soft chuckle. Yes, it is a most excellent minor super strength. It has nothing to do with one for all though. All Might said that like he was pouting. Izuku is assumed because he refused to take Ofa, but he was so willing to take what essentially was worse than Ofa. Izuku shrugged. Yeah, I know. And with that, another 2 years passed quickly. Izuku taking and giving so many quirks. He had honestly lost count a year ago. It was funny, he had thought. The media had been calling what Izuku did the second awakening of quirks, a new phenomenon where quirkless people suddenly manifested a quirk out of nowhere, the oldest being 13 years old. Izuku was proud of himself. He never thought that life would go his way for once, but he was helping society. His quirk was the best thing to ever happen to him. He could prevent people from being Dekus like himself. He had even upped his limit to 15 quirks before he passed out. He continued his workout sections with All Might, said his real training would begin soon, and as well as finally finding a successor. Izuku was proud of the man's choice, though to be fair, he was the one that recommended it to All Might. Now here's the text chat between Momo and Izuku. Hey Momo, what if I told you I had a proposition for you? Huh? What kind of proposition? Remember that mentor I told you about? He wants to meet you. Whatever for, Izu? Well, I asked if he could train you, as well as he agreed. You still want to be a hero, right? Of course, we've been talking about this for years now. When we finally join UA together? Perfect, then meet me at Deku Beach at 6 a.m. tomorrow. I'll see you there. Wait, Izuku, why? Izuku has officially gone offline. Well, folks. Seems you have made it to the end of part 2 of What If Deku Could Take Quirks. Holy shit. I don't know if I'm gonna do this again, cause I started my first voiceover at what was it, 10? It is now 3:46 a.m. You're probably wondering, it took you 4 hours to create a 30-minute video? Yes, it seems a lot harder than it is. But if you made it to the end, can you at least comment? Let's see. Comment Amaterasu if you made it to the end. And yeah, let me know if you liked the non-texted speech, if you liked my voice, and if y'all do, I'll continue to do it. But of course, it comes with the fact that the parts are gonna be much, much shorter, and they might come less, but or they might come less frequently. But yeah, uh, I have nothing else to say. I'm very tired, and I hope all of you guys have a wonderful night or day. Well, this is Amat Rasu signing out. Love you guys.